of this parliament, this house is the 12th parliament. And this bill we are canvassing here today, we ably canvassed it in the 12th parliament, discharged it fruitfully from this house, and took it to the Senate. Because sugar is an agricultural product, and agriculture is a devolved item. Unfortunately, and contrary to what my fellow members think, that this thing was disabled because of time, I know that because of protracted interest. Those who have vested interest, the sugar industry who are against this bill, use their good connections in the Senate to stall it and ensure that it's stalled in the end. And that's why we are where we are today. So I want to thank Honorable Mongi for revising this bill, and I want to implore all members who mean well for this country that this bill means so well for the hoi polloi, who is a sugar farmer in the rural area. I represent people whose interest is sugar farming, sugar milling, and those who are working in the sugar industries. And there are so many. And and when the sugar industry was booming, the livelihood was very good, and people were very happy. But unfortunately, disorder was created temporarily by the ruling mandarin, so that they can have excuse to make quick money from sugar import. At the time of canvassing this issue in Parliament, a disorder has been created in the sugar industry, Honorable Speaker, where a body that is supposed to be governing the running of sugar industry today, called Agricultural Food Authority, unilaterally came up with a directive without requisite room for people to discuss. Came with a directive that all the sugar factories were going to be closed, which was good enough to enable sugarcane to mature for the betterment of the industry now and in future. But unfortunately, while this was done and public factories were closed, one mailer is allowed, continues with the mailing exercise up to now. And this is going to create a lot of chaos in the sugar industry, more so in the NYANZA belt. And I want to use this podium to ask AFA to make sure that they rein in those who are disregarding this directive, and to make sure that in future consideration must be given, equal consideration must be given to all participants in the sugar industry. When this bill passes, and I believe like we did last time, we'll pass it, we'll make sure it will bring a lot of improvements, because we are going to restore the sugar board. As and when the sugar board was active, the factories which are when there are challenges, they would go to the sugar board and appeal for funding, which they got easily because sugar board has got money from sugar development fund, which is deducted from each time sugar deliveries are made by the farmers. But this was discontinued when sugar board was disbanded, and with the reinvestment of the sugar board, the new will be sustained. We are with the biggest problem we have with the sugar industry today, and this I want to thank the CS. He ably talked here yesterday, the former CS. When he was there, together he came up with a task force that's led by the former Kakamega governor, Wycliffe Oparanya, and the Kisumu governor, Anyang' Nyong'o. And we ably canvassed this sugar, the who's benefiting the sugar industry, and came up with suggestions. The suggestions, one of them was we wanted the sugar industry privatized. But because of very vested interest, like even today it is the case, I understand some sugar industries have been lined up. They want to be tax exempt, so that all the tax will be written off, and then they can be lined up for selling. But this, because of vested interest, this cannot succeed, because the ruling mandarin, those who have money, have already lined up. They have already created companies offshore. The same Asians who are being used by the ruling mandarins here have already floated companies which they have kept them outside. So they want to come back as if they are the new people who are coming to buy the same factories at throwaway prices using their high political connections. So we want this to be done. We want the common man to be involved. They want the question of land to be addressed properly, such that if you want to take Chemelil, you must tell us, because we gave land a donation long time ago. We gave land for the purpose of milling sugar industry. If we are no longer going to build sugar industry, or we want to change hands, the sugar industry change hands, the public who donated land must be told what is the position of their land. Either they must be bought or they must be given shares equal to the money that they gave. Then I now want to revisit the elephant in the room. My friend and minority leader ably touched live wire here, the Miwani Sugar Company. Miwani Sugar Company was the first company that was started in this country, followed by the one in Mombasa, Ramisi in 22. Sometimes in the Nyayo regime, the owners of Miwani Sugar industry left and fled the country, purportedly because they had debts. But sometimes we hear that some people who had vested interest, powerful people, blackmailed them, that they were involved, they financed the coup attempt in 1982. So they were supposed to be ready, and then they pumped fear in their chest and they fled away. Then later on, the company changed in miraculous happening, changed hands, and one Ketan Somaya purportedly bought the farm and became the owner. He appointed receiver managers, one after the other. And one of the receiver managers, the last receiver manager of Miwani Sugar Mills, is now the proprietor of Kibos Sugar Company. In miraculous circumstances, while he was here, some company purportedly made some supplies to Miwani Sugar Company and was not paid. When this matter came up, and Pierre Lumumba was still at the EACC, he launched serious investigations. These people could not be traced in India. They could not be traced here in Kenya. They were in hiding. Lumumba ordered and arrests were made. People were charged. Investigations were done. And they found that everything about this case was fictitious. As fictitious as the faces that were mentioned. And we went to court. People went to court. Up to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal then was the highest court. The Court of Appeal gave a ruling that the land belonged to the public and that the sugar board would be the debenture holder on behalf of the public. How again we hear that a lower court which is supposed to be doing arbitration for land issues, sometimes came up and overruled in Kenya, overruled Court of Appeal by Mwera, which was judgment that was done by Justice Mwera. And they want us to believe that that is now the judgment. And that we should forgo the judgment that was done by Court of Appeal while the so-called Supreme Court had not been created, which was the highest. And that case was never challenged. And they want us now to believe that the case that was adjudged by a lower court, some judge who until the other time was a drunkard around here in town, and then he was appointed, and we know the people that are using them, and we want to warn them. My ancestors donated the land. The people of Sido donated the land. The people of Kabar donated the land. The people of Kamagaga donated the land. If Honorable Wandai, my friend, if you have a friend you want to donate that land to, you have your ancestors' land, go and donate to your ancestors' land in Ugenya. Don't try this land. You have tried it. We are going to beat you. We are going to defeat you. And we are going to do everything to make sure that that land does not transfer to anybody. And that is the case. We will never allow. We will not be cowed. With a very vast interest in which time that we want to go for elections, matters come, oh, Mara, we want this land is changing hands from here to there, or we want to create this and that. We are aware. We are seeing through all those tricks. We know who are doing them. And we have sensitized our people. Recently, a very able receiver manager who has been running the place came. They tried, this couple of corrupt Asians came, they were trying to take over Miwani. Then war came and they were thrown out. The people were thrown out. Later on, a court of law is being used to prosecute the receiver manager for having beaten his employee. And because these were very high-handed, they arrested this man in a very terrible way. He was forced to be driven all the way to Nairobi, to be charged here in Nairobi the whole night. Just demonstration of power, that they are powerful. We want to interfere with the land, and we know our might. Saying because this is